Today, we're going to be talking about 4 different ways to motivate your team to come prepared. Stay tuned. Hey, welcome to Worship Launch. My name is Zach Dietz, and if you're not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe, hit the like button on this video, comment in the comment section below, and let us know what type of content you want us talking about here on the Worship Launch. Our goal is to equip worship leaders to build healthier teams. So we want to produce content that is going to do that very thing. Today, we're going to be talking about 4 different ways to motivate your team to come prepared. We've all been in situations where, our team is just not coming prepared. And I want to ask the question, how do I motivate my team to come prepared or to strive for excellence after years of just showing up? Maybe you're coming into a new situation at a church and they're used to just showing up and not coming prepared and just, going through the music maybe once and being done. So how do you change that culture on your team? So I want to go through these 4 different ways. Number 1, are you coming prepared? That's where it starts. If you're asking your team to come prepared, you better be leading the way in that. And there have been some times where I've had to apologize to my team for not coming prepared on a new song. We'll show up for rehearsal, and I in my mind, I'm like, well, I know it well enough. I can just play it. And I've come a couple times, and that's been the case where I was not prepared, and it showed, and it ate time in our rehearsals. And I had to apologize to our team and just say, man, I was not prepared, and I'm sorry. So you lead the way. First of all, let them see you coming prepared. Before you try to implement all these things, let them see that that's part of who you are. Number 2, I would say introduce songs methodically. Introduce new songs methodically. If you're constantly introducing new songs, not just to your congregation, but to your team, it makes it difficult for your team to come prepared because if they're always constantly having to learn new songs, that puts more time on them during the week to come prepared, to practice during the week or whatever. So when I introduce a new song, I try to do it for at least 3 weeks in a row. Then I take about a week's break off of that song, and then I come back to it on week 5. Because I want our congregation to be singing it enough times where they're getting it, and then give it a rest for a week, and then come back the week after with it. But hear me say this, worship leaders, it is okay not to introduce new songs all of the time. It's not your job as a worship pastor to keep up with the pace of the music industry. Hear me say that again. It is not your job to keep up with the pace of the music industry. We have new songs coming out every day from worship leaders. And it's like, it seems like every day I'm getting a text of, have you heard this new song? Have you heard this new song from some worship leader I've never even heard of? And so it's not your job to keep up with that. Yes, you need to be looking out for new worship songs. It's a good thing to introduce new worship songs, but be methodical about it and don't feel like you have to introduce every new song that comes out. So introduce new songs methodically. Number 3, place value on what you're doing. And one of the ways we do this on our team is we have a covenant for our worship team. And if you want to know more about our covenant, I did a Worship Launch video about our covenant, and I actually put a link to the PDF of our covenant if you want to go check that out. But one of the ways that we place value on what we're doing is by having our team sign a covenant and honestly just reminding them that we're preparing for the Lord and not our congregation. When you come to rehearsal with the mindset that, okay, we are preparing these songs to present to the Lord on Sunday. Yes, our congregation is going to be joining us in worship of our Savior, but these songs that we're preparing, we want to bring our best to God, not necessarily for our congregation. Now, there's been a huge emphasis lately of putting on a big presentation, and it seems to me a lot of that is done for the congregation. Because I don't know that God necessarily needs all the extra stuff. But when we prepare our songs for worship, we try to do that the best that we can. And one other thing is just to explain to your team that it's a privilege to be able to prepare for the Lord and that it should be taken seriously. When we bring our worship to God, we want it to be the best that it possibly can be. And what we're presenting to Him is the best that we can possibly present to Him. So, number one, are you coming prepared? Number two, introduce new songs methodically. And that's for your team and for your congregation. And then place value on what you're doing. Maybe your team needs a covenant, maybe not. Just, watch that video I've put out so that you can decide for yourself if that's something that maybe your team needs. Number 4, and this is a big one, and a lot of pastors struggle with this one because they're not confrontational. But number 4 is don't be scared to talk with people individually, just as a coach would with one of his players if it was affecting the whole team. So over the years, I've had team members that aren't showing up prepared, and I have to take those guys aside and just say, hey, listen, when you're not coming prepared, it affects the entire team because maybe you're having to learn the songs on the spot and it's taking up our rehearsal time. And so if it's just 1 or 2 people on the team that are holding the team back, call them out. Take them aside individually. And if they don't respond well, here's my advice. Move on. Have grace on those people to welcome them back if they want to change. But here's the thing, you cannot have people on the team that are affecting it in a bad way. And you may be asking the question, well, what if that guy is my only drummer? What if he's my only guitarist? Or maybe she's my only pianist? Here's what I would suggest, and it's actually pretty simple. Pray that God would send more. And don't use drums for a while if that's the case. It's as simple as that. And I'll just give you some quick examples. There have been times in my ministry where I'm down to maybe one drummer, and that one drummer is a problem. And I'm just saying drums as a for instance. But I know drums are a big deal. It's hard to find good drummers, good bass players. But when you're down to one, but it's that one guy that's causing problems on the team, then you've got to address it. And if it doesn't change, then you've got to move on because it's affecting the rest of your teammates. And it's okay. Hear me say this too. It is okay to not have drums for a while. It's okay to not have lead guitar for a while. It's okay to not have a bass guitar for a while. If you use tracks, man, throw it in the tracks. If you don't, then who cares? Just go acoustic for a while with your other teammates. Maybe you just have piano and acoustic and a bass player, and maybe you have somebody on the team that has enough rhythm to play cajon or something. But just know it is okay to not have a full band and lead worship. We have it in our minds that we've got to have a full team assembled all the time, or we're not doing our best. No, doing your best is by giving God your best. And if you've got somebody on the team that is holding you back from being your best, then that's a problem. And so you've got to resolve that. And I don't love confrontation at all. But I've had to get better at it. And when I confront somebody, I try to do it with as much grace as I can. And you should too. But there are times, man, where you've got to draw the line and just say, this is what's best for the team. Are you coming prepared? That's number one. Number two, introduce new songs methodically, place value on what you're doing, and don't be scared to talk with people individually, just as a coach would with one of his players. It is these four things. If you can nail these things down, then I believe you'll see change on your team in them coming prepared. Now, when I came here to Evergreen, most of this stuff was already implemented. I came into a really good situation. And over the years, I have had to deal with some of that. But what I found to be a game changer on our team is this covenant. And it's because when new people come on our team, they know automatically what is expected of them. And they sign their name to that sheet of paper, and it's an accountability for all of us. I sign the paper too, and it's an accountability for all of us to say, hey, we are 100% committed, and we agree to come prepared. And so that may be something you consider. But anyway, I just wanted to drop these four things because I know this is a huge struggle for worship teams, that a lot of you deal with this on a weekly basis of, man, somebody's not coming prepared every time, and it just seems like you can't fix it. But I promise you, if you'll implement these four things, you'll see a change. Thank you for joining us this week. Please, again, drop in the comments section below what topics you want us to cover, because this is how we come up with content. We need to know what kind of things you're dealing with as a worship pastor. So let us know in the comments below. And thank you guys for joining us this week. Have a good day.